Dun-dun-dun.
This is Santo, and you're watching the Alliance Guys podcast on YouTube.
This is the world famous cheeseburger, and you are watching the Alliance Guys podcast here on YouTube.
This is Bruno Bob Evans, and you're watching the Alliance Guys podcast on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bullhead Brute, AJ Kazana, one half of the country gentleman from the National Wrestling Alliance, and you are watching the Alliance Guys here on YouTube.
Bah! 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 Hello, I'm Balaba, and you're listening to the Alliance Guys podcast. Bah! Bah! Bah!
Hey, Grizzly, you made this debut.
Oh! 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 Oh!
I'm Richard Holiday. That was my signature move, and you're watching the Alliance Guys podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. What's up, man? How are you doing, DKM? How are you doing, Jaden? Welcome to the live stream, fellas.
I guess DK's not here yet. What's up? What's up,
Matthew Underwood just said, holy S, you got Richard Holiday? Well, yeah. He wanted to be on the most talked about NWA podcast, as he is the most talked about independent wrestler out there. So, of course. And Alex Misery, I see you, sir. It was very much a pleasure speaking to you from my home in Quebec, Canada. Thank you for joining me on the live stream this Tuesday. I bought my ticket, Alex Misery. I will be there. I will be there at the 2300. I will see you, much like your all-seeing eyeball.
Eyeball.
What's good, my man?
Yeah, you had a whole bunch of. I mean, you had Richard Holiday, you had Balaba, you had Tank Tolan, former WWE superstar, the world famous Cheeseburger, Bob Evans. In the past, you've had Jim Molyneux. You've had a lot of people do some awesome bumpers for you at this on this podcast.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, and I will say this: shout out to your boss, Dr. Lawrence Zirconium. He didn't go to 8 years of evil medical school to be called Mister. Thanks again for all the help in getting these great bumpers for us, and some of the guests that Dr. Lawrence Zirconium and you, Jaden, have helped negotiate to get us onto this live stream, onto this podcast. It's been a treat. It's been a hoot. It's been a lot of fun. And now working with the NWA, we're getting some of their talent on our live stream as well. Our good pal over at the Iconic Heroes of Wrestling Excellence has been sending us some guests, and we've had some guests from Championship Wrestling, some guests from Epic Pro Wrestling, really all the promotions that we support and help share their cards and their information and their event info. They've been kind enough to return the favor, so it's been really great.
One day, I'd like to see you break a list of everybody who's been on the podcast since the Blog Talk Radio days up until today.
That'd be great. As I'm thinking about it right now, there was a time when it was just an interview show. The Alliance Guys podcast was an interview program for the good chunk of 2012 to about 2016. That's all we did were interviews. So there is a very long list, and I would love to. I should figure that out. Now, a lot of those were audio only, so some of those interviews have made it to this latest version of the podcast, whether you watch it on YouTube or if you see it on Spotify or whatever the other podcasting apps you listen to. But yeah, we've been around for a while, that's for sure.
Yeah, you've had Matt Bourne, aka Doink the Clown, yep, and Garrison / Lance Cade. And you've had, what was that?
Rest in peace to both those guys.
And you've had a lot of talent. You've had Scrap Iron Adam Pierce.
Correct. We've had some of the guys. Most recently, we had the current pro wrestling NOAH Global Honored Champion Shane Haste was on this podcast. We had Royce Isaacs, former NWA World Tag Team Champion Royce Isaacs. Going through the NWA roster, I mean, we had PB Smooth, we've had Tim Storm, we had the late great Jack Stain, former NWA World Champion. We had
Alex Misery.
Of course, recently Alex Taylor, Alex Misery, Wrecking Ball Legursky. He's been on a few times. We had Mike Mondo.
Pollo.
Of course, Pollo. We had Fred Slow from Duke City Championship Wrestling, and Saleh Taylor also came on from Duke City Championship Wrestling. We've had AJ Kazana. We've had Joe Kazana. We've had Mecha Wolf, former NWA World Tag Team Champion and currently a part of the AAA roster.
Whew. Did you say Jeremiah Plunkett?
We did not, but we just did. Samoa Joe came on the podcast. EC3, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion EC3. Man, there's a long list. And
Thrillbilly?
Of course, yeah, Thrillbilly, Kerry Morton, Barrett Brown.
Yeah.
Kevin Douglas, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion.
We're going to NWA, Chance Prophet, Damian Wayne, the Stro, the Mike Stro.
Phil Shatter.
Charlie
Haas.
He didn't even know there was an NWA.
He was news to him. He was shocked. He's like, wait, there's an NWA? I got to do that podcast. And he did. He was great. I don't know why he was so anti NWA. When he was on, he was fantastic. Let's see. We speaking of Lances, we also had Lance Archer on as well.
David Marquez.
Now, Matthew Underwood said Nick Aldis. Unfortunately, Nick never came on in an actual capacity. We do have a soundbite that we go to from time to time with Nick, but he actually was never officially on the live stream.
Heard he wasn't a fan.
He thought I was a ham sandwich jabroni, whatever that means.
Well, I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know.
You got mustard on that ham?
It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking today how versatile mustard is as a condiment, especially if you are trying to eat in a calorie deficit. Mustard has become one of my favorite condiments to use. It's mustard and Frank's Red Hot. Those are the two things I use the most. And my wife made me a breakfast sandwich today. Like a scrambled eggs with cheese and then like ham on wheat toast with mustard. And you might think mustard and eggs, but it works for some weird reason. It works, and I absolutely enjoy it. And it's there's almost 0 calories with it, so it's a really good condiment. And
mustard helps me lose weight.
Does it?
You know why?
Why?
If it has mustard on it, I won't eat it.
Really?
I hate mustard.
Oh man. Well, then I won't tell you my order for In-N-Out.
You probably put avocado on it too, knowing you.
No, you can't get avocado at In-N-Out, but they will fry your patty in mustard, and it's so stupid good. I know you don't like mustard, so you'd hate it, but it was it's really delicious. Hey, I was wondering, did you want to see a little bit of what I saw this past Tuesday at Championship Wrestling in Irvine?
I would gladly. Do you have any highlights to show me?
Just one particular clip. Somebody that you're quite familiar with who had been on the podcast in the past.
That Paisan has a little bit of dog in him.
He's got a lot of dog in him. Every time I see him, I think that guy was the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator champion for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I remember after he came onto this podcast, I said, Mr. David Marquez, I think this guy is great. I think if you ever do shows in the Northeast, you should seriously consider using this guy. And before I know it, he showed up in Irvine. This isn't his first time. He's been in Irvine multiple times, but he also works for Gotham Wrestling and at West Nyack, New York. And in fact, on Sunday, July 12th, he will be challenging exciting Evan Daniels, the literal star, for the United Wrestling Network Television Championship. So, and he had that big time matchup with Bateman, who is a former Heritage champion in his own right. It's a phenomenal match. When you guys get an opportunity to, make sure you tune into the United Wrestling Network. They are on social media as well. They have their TikTok, their Instagram, their YouTube, and watch those matches because they have some very exciting wrestling, some very entertaining content. I highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, Ray Jazz is an extremely talented wrestler. He's also, I don't know this, but I seem to know this, that I really think he's the illegitimate son of James Maritato, a.k.a. Little Guido, a.k.a. Nunzio.
They partnered them together in Gotham.
Yeah, and TNA too, and other places.
Oh, I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know Ray Jazz had competed in TNA wrestling. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, him and Little Guido, a.k.a. Nunzio, and other places. Like I said, he's Major League Wrestling. So Ray Jazz is doing a really good job. Plus, he doesn't play for the Savannah Bananas, but he is a part of the crew entertainment crew for Banana Ball.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of wrestlers who are involved with that.
Yeah, and I actually, ironically, I wrote. I can't think of the CEO's name, and I'll probably never read it. But I wrote them about how they have all these wrestlers for Banana Ball, but they don't have a heel yet, and that how somebody I know might make a great heel in Banana Ball.
Who?
Somebody that could be there to be the antithesis of all the entertainment and positive goodwill, to be the villain, if you will, for Banana Ball. So I don't know. Hopefully he'll reply back for that. But I know somebody who might be very good at being very, very good at making people dislike him intentionally, not like people like Dave Dahl who do it unintentionally.
Who?
I was about to say, is it Dave Dahl?
No. People. This is somebody that people want to see. Actually, somebody who could draw people to, but his big mouth could draw people to the chairs and to the seats, and ass every 18 inches.
I don't know if he is still involved, but I know Jamie Stanley for a while was involved, and so was what's her name? Something Rodriguez, J-Rod. I can't think of her name as a wrestler. Maybe it is J-Rod. I know she wrestled a little bit for United Wrestling Network. I think she made an appearance for the NWA once or twice, and she has done stuff for ROH and AEW as well. And she's appeared on Banana Ball as part of the Firefighters. That's the little bit I know about it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how there's a whole crossover there. It's very interesting to me.
I will say, and he may or may not agree with this, but I have a feeling the CEO is a wrestling fan because some of the best things he did are very pro wrestling oriented without actually being pro wrestling. I guess if I really want to say it, they're sports entertainment oriented because it's the histrionics and the sizzle that's been brought to pro wrestling. It's a way to promote. And I know a lot of that's done, and I love it. I watch his videos and try to take anything I can to help Dog with what we, to grow and improve. And so hopefully someday we'll see it. I was just at a Chamber of Commerce of Southern New Jersey event yesterday morning. And I will give a shout out to free plug to the CCSNJ and Adelphia's because everything in the breakfast was good. That bacon was the best crispy bacon I ever had. I wish I could have went back for thirds, but the presentation was going on. I don't want to go back up for more bacon just because that was going on. But that was so good. If I had it my way, I would have snuck with a plastic bag and brought some home with me. But everything was good. The eggs and everything else I've had. But we were part of that, and we were talking to various state officials and government officials and mayors and community events people and other businesses about Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And we brought a championship belt with us, the old Dog championship belt. And we had a bit of a crowd looking to hold it and talk about it and pick it up and talk about how heavy it was. So again, anything we can do in Dog to help improve our stature, I will help out the company in any way I can. Wish Dr. Zirconi would pay me. He's cheap. But I still would like this Dog to succeed, so I'll go out of my way to help it out any way I can. And some of the ideas and some of the ways I talk about Dog are the same ways I hear them talk about Banana Ball.
Look, I think both could learn from each other, right? Like some of the things that Banana Ball are doing, really, I think could be incorporated by any sports entertainment vehicle, whether it be pro baseball or pro basketball or pro football or pro hockey. A lot of what they're doing, putting the fan first and making it as interactive for the fan, I think that's brilliant. And I think that works for pro wrestling as well. And like you said, there's a lot of wrestling kind of bleeding out of Banana Ball. You see it all the time when, the entertainment, the P.T. Barnum effect, if you will, the freak show part of it. I watched something the other day from Banana Ball, and there was like an 80-year-old baseball player who came out and had played Major League Ball when he was a young man, but he was nobody like a superstar or anything. And he came out there and he took his at bats. He struck out, but still, it was the almost like the freak show effect. You don't see that in pro sports. And there was an umpire who does backflips every time he calls a strike, and he officiated an entire game. So it's just stuff like that. I think it's very P.T. Barnum. It's very kind of carnival-esque, but I think that kind of stuff works in both pro wrestling and in sports and entertainment.
If you
That's
say
DK. What was that, DK?
I said if he says so. I'm not going to argue with Jay tonight.
Turning over a new leaf?
I think he's smoking too many leaves.
No, I just got plans for next week.
Oh, okay. Well, I have plans, as I said earlier in the show. I purchased my ticket. NWA, I purchased my ticket. You guys announced that Nattie Neidhart was coming to your event yet again, and I bought my ticket yet again. This is the second time the NWA has got me to go to Philadelphia for Nattie freaking Neidhart.
Yeah, see, didn't they already do this? It's like deja vu all over again.
I think that's what I said in the chat too when I found out that she was coming. Nattie Neidhart came to the National Wrestling Alliance. They built this angle online last year for the Crockett Cup that also took place at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, where Nattie Neidhart and Kenzie Paige got into essentially a war of words that spilled out into social media, that spilled out into real life. Part of it was, Nattie was competing at Josh Barnett's a blood sport that took place WrestleMania weekend this is talking about in 2025, and Nattie Neidhart was there, and Kenzie Paige shoved her during that event. And then also Kenzie Paige showed up at the dungeon in Florida, and they shot some stuff there too. Now, none of this actually played out on television. None of this aired on television because Nattie Neidhart's first steps into the into the NWA were kept from television. It never aired on TV. In fact, the only place you could watch that match is where, Jaden?
I believe that some guy who was sitting next to some guy in a mask recorded it on YouTube, and now they can watch it on the Alliance blog YouTube page. If only there was somebody that could put the link in the chat so people could check that out.
Way ahead of you, boss.
But the Alliance guys, the Alliance blog, the Alliance a YouTube page has it on there, and it's a decently watched YouTube video, isn't it?
So it is currently sitting at 6.5 thousand views, which really breaks my heart, to be perfectly honest, because the video to the left, which has 11,000 views, was Tyrus retiring from the NWA. And then the two more popular videos, Andrade versus Rey Fenix versus Laredo Kid, had over 50,000 views, which actually basically got the channel over 1,000 subscribers. And then La Rebelión, the former NWA World Tag Team Champions, teamed up with Rey Horas to take on Nueve Generación Dinamante. That had 24,000 views. So not the most viewed match on the live stream on the Alliance blog YouTube channel, but it was fairly widely seen.
It's funny how Natalya is a draw for the NWA, but the WWE barely even uses her.
And it's almost comical, right? Because and Noob said it in the chat. Oh boy, Nattie's going to the NWA means one thing. WWE and the NWA is going to admit a Nattie match. Yeah, it's kind of bizarro world. Even as much as we root for this to have the best show that we can, we want Comet to be seen by a large audience. We want people to be excited about what the NWA is doing. This isn't probably not going to appear on TV. And DK, are they making a mistake by doing this again?
Well, it depends. What are they going to do with her? First of all, that's, how they use her will matter. If they just put her in a match with somebody, not a big deal. If they put her, whether they show it or not, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a local attraction thing. It almost sounds like she has a deal with the arena that is the NWA comes to.
Blue Meanie.
Exactly. But I think also, but like they put her in a world title match again, it would be a mistake because, she was just in a world title match and didn't win, and you put her in another one, we know she's not going to win probably. And then you don't show it, well then you're depriving the fans of a world title match. And so, it'll depend on how they use her and if they can show the match or not this time.
Let's assume the best, which is not my trait. Let's say that they did get rights to show stuff. And maybe she wins the NWA World Heavyweight Women's Championship. Don't ever say that to a Women's Championship. Or she teams up with somebody to take on the Paige sisters for their tag team championships. Or she wins the television championship. She sticks around for just a little bit. Even if it's just for a couple months, that would be a big boon in the cap for the NWA. That'll be really big. Otherwise, it's just a dark match.
I think. Oh, okay. First of all, we know that we're not going to get Natalia Markova versus Nattie Neidhart, which might have been a very fun match to have, because Markova is going to be in the ring with Greta. We know that match is booked. So as much as I think that match would have probably made the most sense, Markova versus Nattie Neidhart, that's off the table. The other matches that could, to allude to what Jaden was saying, you still have Tiffany Nieves, who needs to defend the Burke. So we could potentially get a Nattie Neidhart versus Tiffany Nieves match, which I think would be very entertaining. But to DKM's point, if the match doesn't make television because of whatever reason, then we're deprived of a Tiffany Nieves title defense at this round of TV tapings. The other potential matchup, like Jaden was saying, is Nattie finds a partner and takes on the Paige sisters, pretty empowered. They are your NWA Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, this could be very creative. This could be very interesting. What if they put Markova, after she wrestles Greta, Markova and Nattie Neidhart could tag team against the Paige sisters? Clearly there was some unresolved issues between Kenzie and Nattie the last time that they faced each other. That might be one route to go, right? And then, the last one would be the television championship. Giselle Shaw, she still holds the NWA Women's Television Championship. She is going to be at the event. What if they put Nattie Neidhart against Giselle Shaw and put that NWA TV title on the line? Jaden, do you think that's something that we could potentially see?
I would like that, just for the irony, if it doesn't make TV, that it's a TV title match.
That's a good point. It's a good point. What do you think about that, DK?
I try not to most of the time. No, yeah, that works for me. I like the idea.
That's not so pitchy, dog.
I do think Big Chris Dog, friend of the show, Big Chris Dog, messaged me about this match and says, well, what do you think, Jay? What do you think she's going to do? And I said, I think they'd be foolish to put Nattie on in a big time match and not be able to air it. But if that's the case, if that's what happens, I think you're going to want to put her in a main marquee matchup, because obviously if you're bringing Nattie in, the fans are going to want to see her have a big time match. If it's not against Tiffany Nieves, which I think would be a banger of a match, if it's not going to be a straight one-on-one against Markova, which I think that would also be a banger of a match, you've got Giselle Shaw, who's your TV champion, but again, limitations between the WWE and the NWA, and maybe even to a lesser extent Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, might prevent Giselle Shaw and Nattie Neidhart from working. But there's a lot of different questions that need to be asked. And the one question is that Luthez says is Tiffany Nieves even the TV, or is Tiffany Nieves the women's champion going into the 78? It's another good question.
Yeah, I don't know, but I have a sneaky suspicion that Markova is going to be defending against Greta.
Huh.
I don't know that. I don't have any spoilers. But I just have a feeling, because a slip up on the promotion of the 2300 of this announced Markova defending the championship against Greta. So again, I don't know. That's probably spoiler. I should have avoided this was said that spoiler alert, but it could be just a typo. It could be it hasn't aired yet or whatever, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And again, as we're talking about this, Hard Times still hasn't aired on Comet yet. We're still watching stuff that was filmed back, I think, in April at the Tampa TV studio. So there's still Hard Times that was filmed in June. That's a very interesting question.
I guess we'll find out. Just like we found out a bunch of championship switches at when you were at the you and that mask guy were at the last time in Philly, last event in Philly, and the time before that.
Wait, you guys been to Philly?
I've been to Philly a few times.
Never heard of you.
What was that?
Never heard of it.
You never heard of Philadelphia?
No, never heard of Philadelphia.
It's also known as Filthy-delphia.
Oh, no, that sounds more familiar.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's also where if the United States was a person, that's also where you would stick the enema.
Oh my God.
I thought that was South Jersey.
No, South Jersey's beautiful. You're thinking of North Jersey.
Oh,
North Jersey's what's coming out after the enema.
I was actually surprised how nice
that
South Jersey was.
Yeah, Jay never saw trees, apparently.
I never saw trees on the East Coast before. Actually, that's not true. I never saw trees look, what the media portrays, right? Because it's the media's fault, portrays not Philadelphia, but Jersey is what we see, gym tan laundry, right? Like it's and I thought I was going to see a bunch of people doing this and a bunch of Guidos, and that's not what I saw at all.
We do have those. Some are little, some are big.
I didn't see any of them. And I was by the college. I was right by the college when I was there.
Yeah, the college is way more. Glassboro is way diverse. A, between the town, and B, because of the college itself. The last time you were up, was it the summertime?
The last time I was there was.
I remember being warm.
Yeah, the last time I was there was for the Crockett Cup last year, which I believe was in May.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna have to go look.
They may or may not have been in town during that time because they graduate in May and for on the East Coast and Northeast. Real quick though, if it is a tag match, imagine I could see Natalya Neidhart teaming up with Hollywood Haley J.
Okay.
Against the Paige sisters. Try to get as much star power as possible in that match.
The last time I was in New Jersey was Monday, May 19th, 2025. And I took a picture of myself behind the hotel, which there was nothing but green behind the hotel. And again, that's not what I was expecting when I was in New Jersey.
Yeah, see, Jersey is known as the Garden State, but it's because of South Jersey.
Well, it was beautiful.
Yeah, he was in all the trees. They were tremendous to him.
And as I scroll through my Google Photos, I see pictures of me and Dave Scooby and me and Tim Wood and Mrs. Tim Wood. Yeah, I've actually seen Jaden with, and I know what his real face looks like.
Feel free to put on the blog talk radio or stream yards or restream or whatever we're on now. I don't even know.
We're on
this
Restream.
platform. Okay. I don't know. We've had like 6 of them by now.
Our boy Matthew Underwood says Haley J wearing black and pink definitely fits the mold of a new age heart foundation. That look, if the WWE is willing to let Natalya do blood sport, do reality of wrestling, do an NWA event last year, I think maybe they'd be willing to let her work of more than just one NWA match. And if you put her and Haley J together as a tag team, number one, if Nattie Neidhart works for the NWA for more than just this one-off, she could definitely be a talent scout for the WWE and look at the National Wrestling Alliance and see which stars could potentially come to the WWE at some point. But also the NWA could benefit from that relationship as well, because Nattie Neidhart is a draw in Philly. We know that for certain because we saw it last year. And, Haley J, Tiffany Nieves, Natalia Markova, both Paige sisters. I mean, all of them could benefit from working with Nattie Neidhart. Let's make no mistake about it. She's not just a phenomenal in-ring talent. She's also a phenomenal coach. And putting her in the ring with some of the ladies of the NWA would make them better. It's a win-win situation.
Can you imagine also, I don't know if this would happen, but if maybe all the ladies that are there happen to do a little seminar with Natalya beforehand? Or Nattie at NWA, if you were looking for a place to maybe do a little training with the ladies that's not at the arena, because I know you're going to be busy and you don't really have the space and time to do such a thing, Lineage Pro Wrestling has a wrestling school in South Jersey, not far from the arena. You get them all there early. Maybe you could have a little seminar with all the lady wrestlers and all the women wrestlers. And even if they only learned one thing, your entire show just got that much better.
That's 100% sure. Matthew Underwood said that he hopes that Nieves is champion going into Crockett Cup. Luthez responded with "Keep hope alive."
Who's Hope? I didn't know she was in trouble.
Well, there's hope and then there's faith, and I think they used to have a TV show on ABC.
Sure.
No? Okay.
I'm
the only one that watches regular TV shows. Okay.
You're the only one that actually. I think DK is the only one who watches TV.
Yeah, I don't even have a TV anymore. Actually, that's not true. But I don't watch regular TV. I just stream stuff. And
DK, do you stream or do you watch actual television? Is he muted?
No, he's not actually. Not muted in the studio, but maybe muted his mic.
Okay, well, to go back onto it, I don't.
Real quick, our pal Sean Mega says that he thinks that the better matchup is Nattie versus Nieves. And sorry. Yeah, so
I wonder.
Go ahead.
I wonder what Noob thinks.
Noob, are you in the chat? Which matchup do you want to see for Nattie Neidhart?
We already know. Why are you asking?
He might have a different answer. Look, right now.
Anyone wants to know who I want to see? Sniff.
Who do you want to see? Well, you disappeared. We asked you a question. You didn't answer us.
Well, that's because the dog wanted out.
DK, let the dogs out. Ooh.
What question did you ask?
Who would you like to see take on Nattie Neidhart.
Out of all their top, well, I'd like to see her teach Greta a lesson. That's what I'd like to see.
Nattie versus Greta?
Hey, I'm just talking personal fantasy booking.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting suggestion. Continue, please.
So, more realistically, I'd probably like to see her against Tiffany Nieves, so she can slap the smirk off her face.
Shit. Good luck with that. That Nieves always has that smirk on her face.
Yeah, well, she ain't wrestled Natty.
Can we get She hasn't wrestled Natty yet, he said.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Can we get Brock Lesnar versus Eric Smalls and Brian Idol?
I mean, if we're fantasy booking.
Not Eric Smalls, because I just don't want him to ever show up again.
You really wouldn't like to see Brock Lesnar just give him the F5 and he just keeps going into the atmosphere.
I don't think. I don't know if the F5 would work on Eric. He's so small, and his arm would be wrapped. Lesnar's arm would be wrapped around him and probably protect him.
What about who's the biggest guy in the WWE? Who's the heaviest guy in the WWE? Do they have any super heavyweights?
Well, I mean, Oba Femi's probably their super heavyweight right now. You've got Omos. You also got Otis. He's a pretty big heavyweight. And when he comes back, you've got Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed giving him the avalanche off the top, or whatever they call it.
That war. I was going to say, who's bigger than he gets credit for is Trick Williams.
He's a big guy.
Because they don't push him as like this big, awesome, strong guy, but when he was wrestling Oba Femi, he was about the same size.
Well, he's kind of
he
like
might be taller.
It's interesting to me, and I know this is an NWA podcast, but when I think of Lemon Pepper Steppers, I'm also thinking like, God, it's kind of like looking at Booker T, like in '97.
About Trick?
Yeah, Trick Williams. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that's his catchword. He's wearing his Lemon Pepper Steppers.
Oh, I really don't watch the WWE enough to know. But now that I think about it, if we're going to do another wrestler, how about Braun Breaker versus Eric Smalls? Can you imagine that spear?
He's too short.
He can throw him up in the air. By the time he comes down, he moves so fast, he would definitely hit him.
What about Nia Jax versus Eric Smalls?
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Did I just see that, speaking of Trick, did he just get married?
Yeah, he got married to Lash Legend, which was Nia Jax's tag team partner.
Yeah. Interesting.
Matthew, what did I say that was blasphemous? Sean says that Danhausen could put a curse on Smalls.
That's a short curse.
I think he's already been cursed. I mean, never mind. That's too far.
Didn't nature already do that?
Matthew Underwood said Nia Jax may end up pregnant if she wrestles Eric Smalls. I don't know what that means, Matthew Underwood. I do not know what that means.
I mean, you should fall on top of him and he'd disappear.
Oh, Matthew thinks my Booker T Trick Williams comp is was blasphemy. I thought that was I liked Booker T in '97. When he was getting hot on that TV title run that he had that best of 7 series with Benoit on Nitro. I mean, that was when he was doing some of his best work, in my opinion. And I see a lot of Trick Williams in that, in terms of his in-ring ability. I think promo-wise, I think Trick Williams kills Booker T. I think it's not even close. But in-ring work, I thought Trick Williams wrestles very comparable to Booker T, like around 97, 98, post Harlem Heat, TV title feud with Benoit. That's my point of reference, anyways.
As a wrestler, I loved Booker T. As a commentator, I have a feeling he knows what brand of Windows that is by the taste.
Shit. Damn.
That's wrong.
Earlier, and sorry, I'm going to change subject a little bit. Earlier, Chris brought up that he just got back watching Supergirl. There's been some discord in the chat about how good or bad Supergirl is. I got to ask you guys this question because we haven't even talked about it offline. Have either one of you checked out Spider Noir on Amazon Prime?
No, which is strange because I actually like noir movies.
It is so good. And, it's the perfect role for Nick Cage because he already overacts anyways, and it just makes the character even better as far as I'm concerned. I've been watching it in the black and white because you have the option to watch it in color too. And it feels like a noir style show. And I've been enjoying it so much. And if you guys haven't watched it yet, you got to check out Spider Noir. It's the best live action Spider series that Sony has been a part of since Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It's just a lot of fun. I love it so much.
Can classic noir work in color? I wouldn't think it would work in color.
I mean, that's an option, but I was like, no, it's not an option for me. I mean, I get it, but like to me, I'm watching it in black and white and loving it. It's been great. I'm not finished with it yet. I think they ran its course. I think the show's did its first season, but I haven't watched it yet. Real quick, I'm going to go to TikTok chat real quick. Sean Mega says, I heard Masters of the Universe is great. I just can't get behind Jared Leto as Skeletor. That's why I haven't even thought about watching it.
My son said it was good.
Yeah, I've heard it was very. If you're nostalgic and you like the member berries, you'll like it.
That's kind of what he said. And he also was worried about Jared Leto as Skeletor. And it's like, he goes, I don't know. Because at first he was like, he didn't know if he wanted to see it because of that. But he went and he said it was pretty good. And kind of like Jaden said, he goes, especially if you have any kind of nostalgia. So.
You remember Skeletor? I remember.
I mean, it couldn't be any worse than the Dolph Lundgren one.
Oh, God. I like that one now for how bad it is. But that's more of a, it's so bad it's good.
Right.
But I did not like that one at all.
See, I was kind of that way about Flash Gordon.
Soundtrack kills.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I like that one too.
Real quick,
I also, you know what? I can't be running any judge. I still to this day love watching the 1979 Buck Rogers with Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
It was horrible, but I still liked it.
Well, of course, I don't really remember much, but Joel Gray. But
yeah, Aaron Gray was gorgeous, and so was the lady who played the heel lady in the bikini all the time. What was her name? Princess Adama or something like that.
Yeah. My wife.
I don't know anything.
Our pal Wiccan just said he would like Booker T better if he got rid of whatever a little yachty is. Fair enough. Getting back to the National Wrestling Alliance, our pal Chris Drummond says, guys, if Thrillbilly is still champ by the 78th, which what do you mean if he is? Who do you have him face to sell the arena out?
And we'll have to bring in Rhino. Bring back nostalgia, why not?
That's a very interesting thing. Chris and I were talking today, and Chris, I hope you don't mind me putting out our dirty laundry, but we were talking about, well, who is going to be able to challenge for the world title that's going to make sense for the NWA, but it's also going to draw. And I'll tell you who Chris suggested. Chris, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to say it anyways. He suggested, because of the location of the event, Joey Janela.
Yeah, see, Chris would suggest that. Chris, go stand in the corner.
Okay, so you know the area a little bit better than DK does, better than I do. If you were going to book this match, who is a draw that you would bring in to face Thrillbilly Silas Mason?
Based off of the area and based off of things I know, I would have a small list. One would be Richard Holiday.
Okay.
I think he would draw interest in the area, being close enough, and his social media presence. Ben Bishop also. I think he would do very, very, very well. In the Northeast, trying to think of some recent events that happened in the Northeast, and who they brought in. By the way, there's an event coming up in the Northeast that has Ben Bishop versus Richard Holiday versus Jack Vaughn.
That's smart booking.
Yeah.
Our pal Sean Mega said that Hammerstone has a good reputation with Philly fans. So far the name suggested Joey Janela, which you put him in. You put
Timeout. You are not. You're going to bed without dinner. You are not allowed a cheesesteak in Philly. Nothing. You are punished.
You suggested Ben Bishop, Dick Holiday.
Yeah, good old Richard Holiday would be all right. Good. For a personal thing, I think Falaba would be fun. You know, there's nobody in ECW that I would suggest.
What about Rob Van Dam?
Okay, maybe there's one person from ECW, but I don't think they would bring in Rob Van Dam. He would do very well in the area, though.
Yeah, Matthew Underwood said Joey Janela has openly talked shit about the NWA in the last year. And to Matthew Underwood's point, okay, but Effy literally screamed down Billy Corgan saying that he's not going to come in to save him from his MAGA world champion when Tyrus was world champion. That's pretty well documented. And then Effy showed up in NWA Chicago. We know he was at Hard Times. And Effy is booked for the 2300 Arena for the 78th anniversary show.
Oh, see, there you have your answer.
You think it's Effy?
I Effy hope not.
I don't want it to be Effy, which is why it's probably going to be him.
What about Talos? How would you feel about the All Japan World Tag Team Champion, Crockett Cup winning, former NWA U.S. Tag Team Champion, not once but twice, challenging Thrillbilly Silas Mason for the 10 pounds of gold?
I'm going to be brutally honest.
Be brutally honest.
Good for Talos for having success in Japan and winning their top tag team title with the thing. Watched all of Crockett Cup. He really didn't do anything in Crockett Cup that made me say, wow, he's come a long way since his days with Daisy Kittle.
Sure he did. He came from Japan.
Huh.
Came much further away.
So, I mean, would it sell better? I honestly don't know. Would I be personally interested in it? No, not really. I still don't think Talos is for the, not that I want the title to change hands since they keep changing hands at, at the anniversary show. But, I would at least want somebody who I felt was like a real threat to win the title. And I don't know that there's anybody there. And, we had the conversation offline. Who is there in the NWA that's world title caliber besides Tom Latimer and Silas Mason? And so, maybe that's a good question to ask now. Is there anybody in the NWA that you really see as being world title caliber? The only person I was able to come up with was the Pope if they build them correctly, which isn't the way they've been using them.
Our friend Sean Omega said Mike Mondo. Mondo.
I think that would be a good match. I love Mondo and his attitude and his view and everything like that. He's so short, and it's hard to get past that.
I know.
Who?
I have an option. Steve Macklin.
Oh, shit.
I think he's living back in Jersey. Left TNA.
That might be the winner right there. I don't know that there's a better answer than Steve Macklin.
I don't know if there is either. Not at this time.
I mean, he's not in the
NWA, but he's
right.
He's a real threat.
This goes back to the previous question of like, who would you book to face Silas Mason at the 78th anniversary show? You know, I don't know that there's a better name than Steve Macklin because he's outright and clear. He's not under contract with any company. I don't think he signed with ROH AEW yet. I know that him and his wife are producing, I think it's called Produce, right? Or not Produce, but Produce. I think that's the name of their wrestling promotion. I think that's true. Someone could fact check me on that. That'd be fine. But he's not under any deal, which would make him free and clear to show up. You know, it's one thing if someone were to say, oh, well, the obvious answer is, you know, Karrion Kross. He's the MLW champion. That would be great. That would be awesome. That'd be exciting. But at some point, how are you going to book a match where you have two guys that can't lose, right? Steve Macklin, if he comes to the NWA, if you want to put the belt on him, I mean, he's a great talent. He's well known. Has a huge reputation. You know, TNA fired him and then brought him back, and then he asked for his release. But he's well known, and he's a big dude. He wrestles well, so there's a lot of positives for him as a potential future world champion. And if he does the job to Silas Mason, it doesn't hurt him in any stretch of the imagination because he's not signed anywhere right now. And if anything, it shows that he's willing to put people over, which might be a more interesting proposition for him in getting signed somewhere else, be it WWE, AEW, MLW, or wherever he may end up. Oh, shit, that's another good one. Matthew Underwood just suggested Josh Barnett.
No, I love Josh Barnett as a fighter.
That's not somebody who his time as being a top wrestler anywhere, I think, is over. Really,
if this would have been a decade ago, I would have said yes. Put the belt on him, make him king of everything.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, no. I mean, the thing with Macklin, and this is where it kind of fit in with my question too, was that as you're paying, he's so independent that, and he's big enough known and a big enough guy that it's believable that he could win. Probably wouldn't, but he could. You know, at least enough to where if you got really into the match, which the NWA would have to give it time, which they're terrible at doing, but, you know, you could buy probably one or two false finishes.
I hope they don't do Sami Callihan.
Say that again?
Hope they don't do Sami Callihan.
God, no.
Or Tommy Dreamer.
God, no.
Or Bully Ray.
Or Bully Ray. Chris, what are you doing, Chris? You're supposed to be in the corner.
I think Sean says that Silas shouldn't drop the belt anytime soon, which I do agree. You know, if you had asked me,
Silas should beat Athena's record for the world title reign.
I mean, and we're kind of going back and forth between is there anyone in the NWA and naming people who I think collectively as maybe the most diehard NWA fan base, we're sending out suggestions on who we think would be a good choice as a challenge for Silas Mason. And if you would have asked me last week after Silas successfully defended the title in All Japan Pro Wrestling and then shouted out Kento Miyahara, the All Japan Triple Crown champion, I think that would have been my choice. But then realistically, I don't think we're going to see that matchup, not in the NWA and not anytime soon. The other match that might make a lot of sense in terms of a big name, a relatively big name, and somebody who I think would be a draw for the Philly fans is Tommy End, formerly known as Aleister Black in the WWE.
I think he's still under. I don't know if he will be by then, but I think he's still under his clause. My luck, I just have a trouble feeling it'll be like that Paul Walter Hauser guy. Hey, Stingray from the Karate Kid, yeah. And what was Jinder Mahal's new name? I guess he'd be somebody too you could think of if you want.
Raj.
Yeah.
Now you go to the corner.
I'm just saying, like, compared to what their options are, like against the option like Joey Janela or Sammy Callahan or Paul. Who's the guy that's on? Who's the guy that's on the CBS show that's the spinoff of the Young Sheldon? Guy that does all the good impersonations. Guy had a match against Bret Hart.
Yeah, the Will Sasso.
Yeah. I'd rather have him than half the ones I just mentioned. And I don't want him, but I'm saying. And wait a minute, didn't somebody say that Heath Slater's going to be there?
Heath Slater will be there. He is in attendance.
They had Rhino. Why don't they have Heath?
Well,
I mean, he's going to need the money. He's got kids.
Oh, it's funny you say that because I'm thinking, they haven't announced how Heath Slater is going to be used yet either, but they also haven't announced a tag team for the Country Gentlemen to face. And I was kind of thinking, well, why don't you put Heath Slater and Rhino together? If we're just going to bring in names to pop the crowd, why not put Heath Slater and Rhino? They were a successful tag team in TNA, and I think they did some work in WWE as well.
Former SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Well, there you go. And then Chris Drummond says, well, what about Andre Chase? Matthew Underwood. Matthew Underwood has another good one, in my opinion. Harry Smith, Davey Boy Jr.
You saw wrestle?
I'll look into it right now while you guys talk. One more name. Sean Mega is saying from in-house. What about Carson Drake?
I'd never.
That's what I think they're going to do.
You might be right on that.
Even though for some reason, Carson Drake versus Alex Misery does seem like something possible too in the future. I just have a feeling it's going to be Carson Drake versus the Thrillbilly.
So Harry Smith's last match was May 30th in Quebec, Canada, and he's only 40 years old. I don't know, man. That might be the best answer I've heard.
I'd love the match, but I just don't see it happening. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're bringing him in, see, here it is. There is enough talent that the NWA could really make a impact on their current station of Sinclair at Comet, but also their new 2B distribution, which I probably buried a lead on a news article there.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
But there is enough talent out there. I mean, can you imagine if you got rid of the talent that's really just wasting time in the NWA, and then took the place with like Ben Bishop and the former Jinder Mahal and Davey Boy Smith Jr. and bring Alex Hammerstone in more, and what's his name, Richard Holiday, and really take advantage of the people that are making some kind of name or buzz or have some good wrestling history, and mix it with the young guys of the NWA with like your Alex Miseries and your Country Gentlemen and all that stuff. Who the hell is Bruce Hamilton?
That's what I was wondering.
He's a burly dude. I think he would make a lot of sense too. He's worked for NWA Chicago, but I don't think he's not the name that's going to pop the crowd, but he would put on, I think, a good match. Bless you. I wasn't sure if you were laughing at me or if you sneezed. Sean Mega says, does Harry have a working visa? That's interesting too, because I know that as of late, he's been working mostly and since 2026, he's only worked in Canada with that's not true. He did do the Circle City Expo this year and did one other event in Ohio, but mostly has been in wrestling for companies in Canada. So maybe not.
I don't know what. Well, there was an issue between him and the NWA at one point when he was the tag team champion.
Sure.
And, he didn't show up for that one thing. It seemed like there was a bigger story that kind of never made it too public. But then also, it seems like someone was saying his knees are pretty shot by now or something like that. He's had several injuries.
I mean, he is 40. The guy's been wrestling since he was like 16.
And, he's had several injuries, which is why he kind of slowed down and everything. And so I'm not opposed to him, but I think there are outside factors that don't make him likely. And I do remember hearing something about his knees being not in very good shape.
Let me throw another one out you that Jamming Music Man came up with. What about the one called Manders versus Thurbilly? No?
I don't really.
That guy who asked questions and then answer was no. Oh. That's how I'm answering that one.
Got it. I know that our friend Poyo, when Poyo jumped on with the pre-party, we went on through like who we would like to see Thurbilly face, and as a fan, not as official capacity in the NWA, that was one of Poyo's suggestions. But for me, I think if we're going to do somebody like one called Manders, he's probably not available. And I know Jaden's going to say immediately, absolutely not. But old Mance Warner, I think, would have a hell of a match with Thurbilly.
No.
Mance Warner?
No. See, here's the thing when it comes to one called Manders. I know who he is, but I've never really watched him. I think I've only seen one match. So I really can't tell you anything, about him other than, doesn't he do like garbage wrestling too? A lot of garbage wrestling?
I'm not entirely sure, to be quite honest with you.
Jaden, do you know? For some reason
he does.
I was going to say, for some reason I associate him with garbage wrestling. And so, I mean, I really don't know anything about him, so I can't say him. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. The question is, who's going to sell tickets, and who's going to sell tickets for Philly, and then who's going to interest people for TV, and those might not be the same people.
No, they probably are not the same people. One last suggestion from the Peanut Gallery. Our good friend Sean Mega says Stevie Richards managed by James Romero.
Does he still wrestle?
Stevie can't wrestle anymore.
He can't?
He is done from wrestling. He cannot wrestle anymore. I was actually going to say Alex Kane is another one that I just thought of.
Shit.
Ooh, see, that's a good option.
But the match itself would be good. I don't know how well it would do for like the general audience. I know he has an MLW name, but I think that match itself would be fun to watch.
He did wrestle a lot at the 2300 because MLW worked a lot in the 2300, no?
Yeah, but how about TV? Does anybody does the 75-year-olds in that are watching Matlock and Xena reruns on Comet care about Alex Kane?
Well,
they could if they build him up, if they gave him TV time, put him against somebody who can talk, and Alex Kane's not horrible at it himself. He's actually decent at himself, but put him with somebody who can talk and make him a big deal, build him up. Then I could see that match being huge. But that's not one other than the pure enjoyment of the match, I'm not sure that'll be immediately You know,
And I think that's one of the issues that we have, especially with the NWA's horrible taping schedule, is that you don't have a chance to build anybody up. You know, would Kane work for the average person out there? Well, if you bring him in 4 or 5 weeks out, if you say, here's a former NWA world champion, a title held by people like, Matt Riddle, Karrion Kross, Alexander Hammerstone, and stuff like that, you could build, and, you say, this is the man that beat Hammerstone for the title, if I remember correctly, and you build him and you give him, the old-fashioned, bring him in, have him squash somebody, have him squash the second person, and have him beat a more top guy, even if it's Kerry Morton or somebody like that, you can build him to where if you get the audience interested in him. But if you're just going to bring somebody in for the match, then it's got to be somebody that at least a wrestling audience would probably know.
yeah.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my cousin Neek, who's watching on TikTok. She just hooked up a nice gift. Appreciate you, Neek. The second thing I'm going to say is, I don't know if I care if the 75-year-old watching Comet doesn't know who Alex Kane is, because Boombayé is for the people,
I do like the match itself would interest me, and I know some wrestling fans would. Again, though, there's so much talent out there that the NWA, I know they don't want names, they want to build up young guys, but if they're really trying, I mean, but then why are they bringing in Natalya?
Yeah, no, they're trying to sell out the arena. Like, let's be perfectly honest. TV is great, and TV is super important to the NWA, obviously, but they need to sell out this arena. They need to draw. And I'm right now, I'm looking at the 2300. I'm on the tickets site, and I bought my tickets today. And yeah, front row is pretty much sold out. But you know what isn't? The second row, and the third row, and the fourth row, and the fifth row. There is a lot of seats available. A lot. So they need to draw well. And you guys know that if they don't draw at the 2300, they've been there 3 times, right? They went there for the 76th anniversary show. Okay, maybe 2 times. The 76, they're the Crockett Cup last year, and now they're coming for the 78th anniversary show. And each time they've had an event there, they did well. They did good business. If they go here now with the following on Comet and everything's kicking off, they just announced the deal to me. We're going to talk about that momentarily. But if they can't sell out the 2300, that's not good. That's not a good look for the NWA, especially because of their previous success there.
I heard.
You think they?
Okay,
DK.
I heard that the day before the Hard Times show, that they were at a place that had set up for 700, and they had sold 225 tickets.
Sure.
And they've been known to have a strong walk up, but I don't know that they have. I don't know that they have a 500 person walk up. And so it sounded like, and we even noted the last time they were in Duluth, they didn't sell as many tickets as they had been selling, and you notice they haven't been back since then.
Real quick, I see a name in the chat that I think really, really would work for both drawing an audience, being an interesting matchup, and I think working well on TV. Steve Corino.
They will probably be able to put him on TV. Still works for the WWE.
This is true. That is true, but he doesn't work as an in-ring performer for the WWE. He works as a producer agent and I believe a trainer at NXT and the training facility. So, I mean, maybe you cannot.
Does he wrestle?
I think Thurbilly would kill him.
Well, of course. Look, most of the names that have been mentioned, I think Thurbilly has an easy path to victory. I think Harry Smith would be a challenging match, but ultimately, I think Thurbilly wins it. Steve Macklin gives me a lot of pause because of, one, his current contract status. Two, you get headlines, and let's not kid ourselves. Billy needs headlines. Billy wants the people talking about the NWA. I could see Billy doing something to, at this event that would garner attention and gain headlines. Steve Macklin winning the 10 pounds of gold could be that thing that could garner people's attention. But I don't know. Real quick, Sean Mega also mentioned Josh Bishop. I'm not familiar with Josh Bishop. Matthew Underwood suggested Bishop Dyer, so there's two Bishops for you.
No.
Dyer is also MLW.
Yeah, I think that would keep him out of it. And then
and even if he wasn't, no.
That's fair. And then Luther says July 25th will be post-World Cup, but pre-football. Kind of sports drought on the calendar. Maybe it will make for a good walk-up. And we did notice it, because, me and Milk Mascaris was there at the last event. And the time before, we had there was a crew of us, the Alliance guys, were there, and they did a really good walk up at the 2300 arena. I still think they need to announce a big name for Silas Mason. I think they're going to have to put someone on this card who's going to be capable of drawing. And again, if they don't, I mean, there's other things that they could do too, but it's not Heath Slater. And I also feel like, Nattie is kind of a been there, done that. We saw Nattie last time. Nattie had a fantastic match against Kenzie Paige, but they didn't air it on TV. So again, I could see Billy making sacrifices to have a big event on pay-per-view. Excuse me, not pay-per-view, a big event at the 2300 arena, and worry less about the TV, because it's kind of like you're going to watch it or you're not. I mean, obviously the right name would get people to tune in, but I think even with the wrong name, the diehards that are watching it are still going to watch.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a couple things. I got a couple points out. A, you're right. Are they going to the well too many times with Nattie? B, Nattie might have been what everybody gave the attention to, but people forgot how much that Rhino angle really made people excited for it. And until they actually put in Carino Colby in that match, that match was very well regarded, and people were very much looking forward to that. And it was obvious that Colby was just in there to lose. So that actually took away from some of that. But initially, that was part of the momentum. That was also the debut of Hammerstone, I think, in the NWA. And he was against Thurbilly, which was a match a lot of us were really excited about. So there wasn't just the, the Nattie and everything. There was a combination there to that, why that was so successful.
Can I say something else real quick? Can I interrupt your train of thought?
Yes, just hope it's not derailed. Millions killed, film at 11.
Two things. One, Sean Mega points out that the Yankees play the Phillies on that day in Philadelphia. So that could potentially hurt, because the 2300 arena is just a few steps away from where the Phillies play. And Luthez just threw out a name, and I was thinking about this today because I saw a video clip of him talking about Briscoe, and how Briscoe, when he was world champion, dropped the belt to Giant Baba, and he had mentioned the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. It was JBL. Well, that was who I was going to say. JBL was talking about Briscoe taking the title to All Japan and how they paid him $250,000 to do that series of shows in Japan. And he was so kind on his reflection of the NWA World title, and he said it was the most important championship in professional wrestling. Now, obviously, things have changed, but does JBL have one more in him? Would you guys? And again, JBL does commentary for the WWE, for AAA. He's currently on a Legends deal, I think, with the WWE. But if he was free, number one, and I'm asking both of you, so I both want you to answer, is that a draw for Philly? Is it these are three questions. Is it a draw for Philly? Does it make for good TV? And is it a good choice for the NWA? Go first, DK.
Well, I suppose if Blue Meanie shows up like he normally does, it would be a draw for Philly, since they have history together.
Sure.
Jaden's right on the idea that the hardcore fans are going to watch no matter who, but that's the whole idea. If you're on a show, you want to get more than just your hardcore fans watching, so you want to bring somebody in. I don't know, because JBL hasn't wrestled in a long time, and I don't even know how old he is. And so I don't know if people would think of him in that particular way. So, and what was the third question?
Would it be a good decision for the NWA?
Well, because I don't know that enough fans would remember him as a wrestler or remember him, and he's pretty old. I don't know how old he is, but we know he's old. I don't know. He would not be the best decision, that's for sure. He might be an okay decision.
Before you answer, Jaden, I want to throw these two things out here. One, Bradshaw wrestled at WrestleCade in 2025, winning a battle royal that included AJ Kazana, Heath Slater, Casey Kazana, Ricky Morton, Lodi, Kerry Morton, the Beer City Bruiser, Bushwhacker Luke, Mr. Hughes, Zane Dawson, and Jay Spade, the longest reigning number one contender for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. The other part is Bradshaw did wrestle most recently this month for Ohio Valley, teaming with Cash Flow to take on Dustin Jackson and Cash Daniel. And before that, teamed up with the Powers of Pain to defeat Glenn Williams, Steve Fender, and Tony Flood at this year's SICW Fan Fest that took place in Illinois. And that was back in May. So he's wrestled twice this year alone. And to answer the question, how old is he? He's fucking old. He's 59. And that's a little bit older than I would want to see challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. But if I could suspend belief for just a second, if I could just close my eyes and think of the optics of JBL and that clothesline from hell up against Silas Mason in the thrill ride. And, JBL is a big dude. We know just even a few years ago, he was showing up in various wrestling promotions and just clotheslining the shit out of people for whatever reason. It didn't really make sense. It didn't lead to anything. But man, I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I think that was a good choice, Luthez. Sorry, Jaden, your answer.
If you want him as an opponent for Throwbilly as a wrestler, my answer is no. But I would not be opposed if he was there with somebody, maybe as a manager, maybe to set up the match, maybe to clothesline Eric Smalls or Carson Drake or Brian Idol. I'd pay to see any one of those. And I'm not even going, but I would definitely, buy the ticket just so somebody can record it for me. But I think if he could be involved with the NWA and be used right, he could be an asset. I don't want him in the ring.
Okay.
His battle royal doesn't necessarily require a lot of you to do a battle royal. A tag match where somebody else can do all the work for you and you just come in and hit a clothesline isn't something, that tells me you're going to have a good match against somebody in his peak at his prime like the Thrillbilly. Yeah. Same thing for a 6-man where probably, if anybody, Barbarian did all the work. Because Barbarian's still tough as hell, by the way.
I don't need to find out.
And still somewhat semi-actively wrestles.
I think there's there can be a nostalgia, but then you got to get to the reality of things. And I think the best example in the real world might have been the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. I mean, when you watch the training, Mike Tyson looked awesome. He looked fast. He looked strong. He looked powerful. But when he was actually in the ring and in the fight, he couldn't let his punches go. I mean, I mean, if he threw 4 punches in a round, it was almost a lot. You don't have it when you're actually in there. And so, I mean, I think that's the way I think of a lot of the older wrestlers and, especially JBL and stuff like that. I remember one time Jaden and I were talking about Jerry Lawler, and I didn't like the fact that he was wrestling. He goes in his 60s, I think, at the time. And, Jaden goes, well, Jerry Lawler can still go. He can still go better than 90% of the people on the indie things. I go, well, that's a bigger indictment of the indie wrestlers than it is a statement of how good Lawler is. And, he didn't wrestle much even in those later years. He would have wrestling matches, but he didn't really wrestle much. He'd go in, hit a couple of his classic moves, and then either get pinned or pin, whichever, depending on where it was, or if he was going over or not. And so it's just like, if I say I like old style wrestling, people go, oh, you need to get up in the modern age, you need to do stuff like that. But then the same people who do things like that, and you go, who do you want? Oh, they need to bring Sting in. Oh, Dustin Rhodes, he should be, he should win the world. Well, who's living in the past?
Yeah, that's
the Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant probably come out of retirement.
What'd you say?
The Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant will probably come out of retirement if they ask him to.
Well, he has every year, so.
Big Chris Dog, who got himself out of timeout for a minute, said, ew, Billy's going to use Dexter Lemus. I don't necessarily hate that.
Well,
Joe Gacy.
he was there before.
He challenged for the world title before. Remember, he was part of that four-way that featured Nick Aldis, Trevor Murdoch, and Tom Latimer that saw Trevor Murdoch become a two-time NWA World Champion. He was in that.
Yep.
And then
I don't mind it, but if you're going to use him, bring him in with Joe Gacy as a tag team against the Country Gentlemen.
That would also be interesting, and I don't hate that idea either. Matthew Underwood says he wouldn't draw on Philly, but there's another former Southern Six member and former NWA national champion that would be fun against Silas, although they wrestled before. A former Southern Six member who is also a national champion?
Who were the national champions?
Well,
Chris Adonis?
Was he in the NWA? He said they wrestled before, so I don't know.
I can't think of who was in the Southern Six. There's only been the three members of the Southern Six.
There was more initially in Australia, if you want to think about it.
Well, that was Michael
Kenzie Paige was an original member of the Southern Six in Australia. And the joke was the two was silent, meaning basically they were the four horsemen. Or three horsemen and one horsewoman, I guess. I don't know. Was there somebody else that was part of the group at some point, briefly, possibly? I can't even name who the national champions are.
Oh, well, okay, so there was a Southern Six in the NWA, but there was also a Southern Six in JCW, and that featured, the three, but also James Storm.
Oh.
I don't hate it, but James Storm's mostly retired. He does an occasional appearance here and there.
Nostalgia is great, and let's be honest, the NWA is built on nostalgia. If Billy wanted to start a wrestling promotion and didn't have to recognize the nostalgia of a brand, he could have just started the Billy Corgan Wrestling Federation, the Smashing Pumpkins Pro Wrestling, whatever. He chose the NWA because he wanted to be linked to the nostalgia. He wanted to be linked to the history of the tradition. The term was legacy brand. So bringing in someone like James Storm, who's a multi-time NWA tag team champion, both with TNA and in the Lightning One era, he is a former national champion. I mean, I could see them using him, but I don't think that James Storm is the draw that you would want for Philly. I think he would have a good match with Silas Mason for sure. And it would be interesting for TV. it would be interesting. The buzz, I think, would be interesting. But I don't think that's a draw. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and again, I really feel like whoever should be somewhat of a threat. Whether we believe the title is really going to change hands or not, there should be somewhat of a threat. When the false finishes start coming, there needs to be a moment, I believe. I remember when Izzy James, who was wrestling underneath the name Gregory James, was a last-minute substitute at Parade of Champions that IHW did for the NWA. And we were watching that match, and we all knew James wasn't going to win the title since he was the last-minute substitute. We already kind of knew what the plans were for the junior heavyweight belt. But lo and behold, if there weren't about 2 or 3 falls that made you go, shit, they're going to change the title. And I just don't know that
You muted yourself.
That most of the people who are being named are going to fulfill that part.
Adam Pearce was really good at doing those false finishes. As someone who watched a lot of Adam Pearce matches, I did see a couple of times where you knew that they were building towards him and Colt Cabana, the Best of 7 series. You knew that he was on his way out, and every time he'd wrestle Damian Wayne, and you're like, shit, are they going to put the belt on Damian Wayne? And early in his career, when he was I think in the second reign, and he had a series of matches with the Maestro, and you're thinking, shit, dude, they're going to put the belt on Maestro? Is that really going to happen? So, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's got to be believable, and the right talent could make you believe that, right? If we look at Steve Macklin, honestly, if Steve Macklin showed up to the 2300 arena and that was the match against Silas Mason, those near fall finishes would get me oh shit, new champ. Nope. I don't think you're going to get that again with a JBL. I don't think you're going to get that with a Manders. Maybe an Alex Kane. But I don't think you're going to get it with a lot of the guys we talked about, including James Storm.
Imagine imagine I'm picturing this the South Park meme, and maybe you'll understand when I say this, but imagine if Big Chris Dog had Jeff Cobb showed up and how Big Chris Dog would like that one.
I think that would be exciting.
JC Mateo from WWE.
Yeah, that would be great. I think Chris would pop for that.
You know which meme I'm talking about? The South Park meme?
Oh, now I do. I didn't catch you say that at first. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Sorry, Chris. Why did it get quiet all of a sudden?
I don't know. I'm still trying to think of anybody else of name value. Anybody else of name value?
Let me see. I think we kind of hit them all. Chris wants to produce the show, and he says, what do you guys do with the younger talent guys like PB Smooth and Carson Drake on the show? Well, I mean, look, PB Smooth, I don't know what direction they're going with him. The last time we saw him, Jasmine St. Clair was on TV, and I don't think any of us really care too much about that. I don't know what they plan to do with PB Smooth. Maybe he's the guy that gets a shot at the 10 pounds of gold. Who knows? Mims is currently working with the Pope and the 2 guys with the mask. I think they're calling them the Light. I don't know. Maybe something's going to happen with them. Carson Drake could very well be the guy that challenges Silas Mason for the title. We still have to have a World Junior Heavyweight Championship match. I mean, we don't have to, but that's logically what's going to happen. You also have to assume that the Slime Balls will be defending their U.S. Tag Team titles. You have to assume the Country Gentlemen will be defending the World Tag Team titles. You have to assume that we're going to see somebody like the Paige sisters defend their titles. And, Wrecking Ball Legursky has been trying to hoard in on, the Federation of Champions. That's part of the storyline that's going on right now. So there's a lot of things that, and that's the thing. we're speculating about an event that happens in just a few weeks, literally 1 month from today. But all of this is still up in the air because there's still Hard Times 6 that was filmed back in April that we don't know the results of, that could ultimately rock the foundation of the NWA and change the dynamic of what we're going to see. I mean, who knows? Maybe after Hard Times 6, Spencer Slade and Mike Mondo are challenging for the World Tag Team titles at the anniversary show. We don't know. Matthew.
What about Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas?
Matthew Underwood said Nick Aldis, for fuck's sake. He's not allowed to wrestle, and besides, he's a J-Brone. He had his limo ride. He's done. No, I don't think there's been an apology between Nick Aldis and Billy Corgan. So why, if Effy needed to apologize to Billy Corgan, or if Joey Janela needs to apologize to Billy Corgan, what do you think Nick Aldis
for being born
to get back on good graces with Billy Corgan, Matt?
I don't think we can talk about things like that on this show.
I mean,
what about Tommy Rich?
Tommy Wildfire Rich?
Yeah, he already had his chance.
Again, him showing up would be fun. But, like, let's see. So, JBL's damn near 60. How old is Tommy Rich?
104.
Almost TK's
Oh,
age.
my God. You guys are rough. 69. So, he's only 9 years older than JBL.
Nice.
That's crazy to me.
Nice.
People who are older than me should not be challenging for the title.
You know what? I think that's fair. And I would almost think,
are you saying Yoda or Spock shouldn't get title shots?
Saying who?
Yoda or Spock?
Spock's dead. Yoda's dead.
Neither of them are dead yet. Well, actually, Yoda is. That was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But Spock still hasn't been born yet. Or he might have actually been.
No. He's dead.
T'Pol's been
He's
around.
dead. All the timelines changed.
bad decisions on TikTok.
And every time he came back, it changed again. So he died about 40 years ago.
Bad decisions on TikTok said, I love Tommy Rich. He was my favorite. I mean, he was great back in the 80s, and even in the 90s, he was still doing big business. Maybe in the 2000s, I think it wound down for him, but I don't want to see him wrestle for the world title. That's for sure. I think DKM has a good point. I don't think anyone older than DK should be challenging for the 10 pounds of gold. I agree with DKM on this one.
Okay.
I don't want to see.
So what do you think about?
Sorry.
Real quick, what do you think about the Tubi announcement?
That's great. Let's talk about Tubi before we wrap up the show for this week. So it was announced that Matthew Underwood, he said some pretty stiff things about the owner, and the owner said some pretty stiff things about him. I think there's a lot more that happened that wasn't televised. But again, it changes. Time, patience, money changes a lot of things for people. So who knows? What do I think about
Bret Hart shows up in WWE from time to time.
Who does?
Bret Hart.
There you go. He said some pretty awful things about Vince, and Vince some pretty awful things about him. But let's talk about the announcement on Tubi. Of course, Tubi, it being the Fox-owned streaming, FAST, I think is what they call it. It's a basically a streaming service that's with advertisements. So you don't pay for a subscription. You are able to watch via free. I don't know if either one of you have used Tubi before or if you're familiar with Tubi. I just watched a movie recently on Tubi before this announcement was made, and it's a very simple service to use. It's easy. There are commercials. It's whatever, but you could still watch a lot of content that basically for free. It's very similar to Roku, but I don't know that there's actual channels as much as it's just content. I need to experience Tubi a little bit more to get a better understanding of it. However, the news that came out this week is that Tubi has become the official streaming platform of the National Wrestling Alliance. That Power now will, after it debuts on Saturday, the following Thursday, it will air on Tubi. And that's where they'll be putting all of their new episodes as well. I don't know if that means that there's going to be older episodes. I don't know if that means that they're going to put older content on their Tubi channel. It might make a lot of sense for the NWA to do that, but there's been no official indication that that's what's going to happen. So far, all we know is that it will be the place on demand to watch Power after it airs on Comet. Chris Drummond says Tubi has live channels for the FAST networks, and that's cool, but I don't know that the NWA is creating a network. All that they've said is that it is going to be streaming on that platform. Unless someone has heard something different, feel free to elaborate. DKM, what do you think about the NWA showing up on Tubi as a streaming platform?
I don't know what I think about it. Are they still going to be on the Comet website?
I believe that first episode, so right now when you go to Comet, you can watch last week's episode. The one that aired on Saturday, you can watch it until the following Saturday, and then they replace it with the next episode. So with that being said, I'm not entirely sure if that's still going to be an option. I don't see why they would take it away unless Tubi was, or unless Comet was okay with the NWA taking that off.
And then the next question would be, well, almost seems like it was a compromise or a quick solution to people who want to watch it on demand. So I don't know. And then the next question would be, is are old episodes going to be there, or is it just this week's until such time as like you're talking about, this week's until it's replaced? And so I don't know that it's a big deal. I don't know that it's not a big deal. I guess I'd have to see what their plan is. And I guess I'd have to know what's become of all the other episodes of Power. Because, honestly, we don't even know who owns them.
Yeah, well, that's another big question, right? Where, when it comes to the NWA, as far as I know, as far as I've seen with my own eyeballs, that everything post-pandemic is the NWA's. But, the 10 Pounds of Gold series that was filmed, Storm and later Nick Aldis, first season of Power, maybe the first 2 seasons of Power, and the pay-per-views that were done in coordination with Ring of Honor and with Jeff Jarrett. I don't know where those live. I don't know who owns those at this point. So it's kind of hard to say. And my computer is frozen, so I don't know if you guys are even still seeing me right now.
I do still see you.
Am I still
see
on?
you.
Okay.
You're still on.
Can you hear
You
me?
can hear us. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon.
No. Oh, now he's moving again. Oh, he's kind of moving.
Okay, if you guys can hear me, that's great, because I'm kind of...
Well, we kind of...
He's become Max Headroom. Are you there?
I can hear you guys. I just can't see what's going on. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go.
Yay.
I don't know who any of you are.
Okay, so here's what they're saying in the chat. Chris Drummond says it has a fast channel. They will most likely add Amazon, Roku, and Pluto soon. if it's a fast channel. Okay, but we don't know if it's a fast channel, and that hasn't been announced yet. So that's just guessing, right? And then Noob says Tubi has a lot of wrestling, WWE and AEW, and of course AEW just got a fast channel. Seems like that's where a lot of pro wrestling companies are doing these days. Matthew Underwood says that means no late night power broadcast on Saturday. Does it though, Matt? I mean, we haven't officially heard that. And again, the new episode doesn't come on till Thursday. So it shouldn't change anything business-wise that they've been doing on Comment.
Well, I mean, because the reason it's on twice isn't basically Comment is just one stream throughout the entire country.
Right.
So you do an early broadcast and you do a late broadcast for the West Coast.
Well, no, that's not true. They have separate feeds for West Coast.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, someone lied to me then.
So if I don't have television subscription, so I don't have Comment on my live TV. And if I go to Comment's website, of course I'm getting that East Coast feed. But supposedly, what I've been told from NWA officials is that Comment airs at 4 p.m. Eastern and midnight, I think, is the replay. And then it airs on the West Coast at the same time, 4 p.m. and midnight. And then Central has the same feed as the East Coast. So if it's like 4 p.m. Eastern, I guess that's like 3 p.m. Central and 12 and 11, I guess.
What about Mountain?
They probably are on the West Coast feed, I would imagine.
See, that would be an hour later, so that would be weird. But
And then Matthew Underwood brings this up. Since it's a Fox owned, we might see NWA Shockwave in the near future. Just ask Dave Meltzer. Yeah, Meltzer's not always right.
Meltzer's rarely right anymore.
I think he gets stooged off. I think people just tell him shit just to see if he's going to run with it, and then he does, and doesn't ever apologize for being wrong either.
Well, but none of them do. It's funny. I remember the whole thing with Alexa Bliss. And, man, every one of those sites, including some very, very credible sites, like Fightful and with Sean Ross Sapp and everybody, we're saying how Alexa's, things have fallen apart and Alexa Bliss wasn't going to be in the Royal Rumble and everything like that. And then, she shows up, and of course they're out that night and the next day. Oh, our sources tell us it was a last minute thing, and it just came together and things like that. And I was just thinking to myself one time, and I kind of had this confirmed by somebody. It was like bullshit. She was always going to be there. They release bullshit stuff, and then nobody's going to. Neither their source, and a lot of times their sources are the wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
Neither their source or anyone's going to sit there and go, "Oh no, we fucked you over," and they're not going to go, "Oh well, we got fucked over by our source." And so they always come up with this. They're never wrong. If what they say doesn't happen, it's like, oh well, this last second thing happened that caused us to be wrong. Nah.
Vandals.
Yeah. Nah, you guys got screwed over. It happens.
Rick Del Santo just joined the TikTok chat, and I said, "Hello, Rick. Love you. Are you coming to Philly?"
Rick, shouldn't he be here?
Well, things happen. He's been pulling some double duties. Hasn't been able to make it yet. He's supposed to be back next week.
They're holding him to it, or holding you to it, or holding you to him, or something. I don't know.
I mean, look, I offered you guys to take the night off if you wanted to.
Yeah, but Jane didn't want to.
Jaden.
Wait, I'm getting the blame here.
I guess.
I'm
Rick
not
said
going to take it.
Rick said he's going to be.
I stopped watching the NWA, so
Rick said he'll be.
again.
Jesus. Rick will be back next week.
Okay. So do you want me to talk about what were we talking about? I forgot.
Well, we were just finishing up talking about Tubi. Please, if you have something you'd like to add it now.
First of all, to be or not to be, that is not the question. It's great for the NWA. The more places they could be seen, the better. Honestly, if they could stay on the replay on comment and still be on Tubi, and if they are fast, maybe they can get on the other stations. The NWA where eyeballs matter right now, not just Alex Misery's eyeball. They need as much eyeballs as possible. I think if they were allowed to, the contracts, I don't know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. I would still be on X. I'd still be on YouTube. I'd still see if Roku would put me on there too.
For sure.
Personally, until you have enough eyeballs that people actually care about you and they'll watch you no matter what, look for you and find you. I mean, and you're hot, put as many eyeballs as possible. That's why Richard Holiday still teams up with Tommy Invincible.
Never heard of him.
Just trying to get as many eyeballs as possible. That's why he's still calling out Pink. Which, by the way, Pink, give the guy a call.
Yeah, because Pink is listening to you right now on this live stream.
You never know.
That's true.
So, or you never know who might be saying, hey, Pink, that Richard Holiday's looking for you. The Jaden on the Alliance guys has said it. Yeah, but as many eyeballs as you possibly can. I would love to. Right now, the NWA should be trying to maximize itself. Tubi is great. I think that it's actually, isn't that where Evolve is on? I think.
Evolve is on Tubi,
and they also do have on demand, but they have live stations too. In fact, last time I watched Tubi, they had a Godzilla station where there was just straight up Godzilla movies. I saw Godzilla Rise again for only the second time ever on a Tubi.
I just logged into Tubi right now. It says browse, movies, TV shows, live TV, Espanol, Tubi Kids, FIFA, World Cup Hub. And then it's like when you go to browse, like genres, collections, networks. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to type in wrestling and see what comes up.
Wrestling.
Probably anything modern.
No, they have, like you said, Dynamite is on there. New episodes of Evolve, WWE Rivals, the Biography Legends, NXT, The Dark Side of the Ring, and then like some CZW, some Watch AEW, more ZZW, Hulk Hogan's No Hold Barred, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, Wrestler's Greatest Villains, This is Brody Lee, Icons of Wrestling, TMZ presents The Real Hulk Hogan, Ho Beatdown by World Extreme Wrestling, Women's Extreme Wrestling, Lucha Mexico, 1987 CWA Memphis, The Origins of the Ladies of Wrestling.
Never heard of them.
Tony Atlas. There's all kinds of wrestling stuff on there.
Maybe we should get the Alliance guys on there.
Tell me how. I'll do it.
Look it up. That's what Google's for. If they got Women's Extreme Wrestling Hoedown in the Showdown of Volume 7, then I'm sure we can get the Alliance guys on there.
Just wait. Okay. Look, if I even sneeze while we're on the live, you give me a recipe on how to get healed. So I figured you would know.
Well, I don't know. I don't care enough about to be or not to be to know how to get on there. I know there's actually websites you can get advertised on it, and Roku and Comment too. Apparently,
Yeah, I should look into advertising during the NWA content that's on Tubi. It's supposed to be very affordable.
Yeah, why not? And the buckets for rent. Maybe you could isolate nice free advertising on there.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right. Well, I do know that there is an exciting event coming up on July 4th.
There is?
Yeah, and I think that the person who is going to be talking about that is the guy who will be there. If I can make this work the correct way.
I sent you a bunch of pictures, by the way.
They're uploaded and ready to be seen. It's not working the right way.
All right. What is DK be in the spotlight for?
I don't know, man. It's not working, but there you go.
There we go. Yay! It's the Muppet Show, a very special guest star, Kevin Owens. Yay!
Shut it.
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
And I should have. Okay, so I didn't download the main graphic, but I have the match graphics. So if you would like to discuss, I could bring up these matches when you are ready.
Well, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators comes to the Millville 4th of July Festival at the Tim Shannon Sports Complex in Millville, New Jersey. There's going to be fun, there's going to be fireworks, and there's going to be Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action.
Isn't Millville where Mike Trout's from?
Actually, I believe he is.
All right.
I believe you are correct, sir.
All right, continue.
So, part of the double main event. First, for the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship, we get to see J. Cal's favorite, the strong, powerful Latina baddie, Gabby Ortiz, the champion, defend against WWE ID prospect Sloane Jacobs. Not that long ago at Rowan University, Sloane Jacobs challenged the winner of the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship match, that being Gabby Ortiz, for a championship match in the future. Well, that future is now, as Gabby Ortiz defends against Sloane Jacobs, one-on-one, free for all the fans of Millville, New Jersey. Make sure you come. No pets, no bikes, but lots of pro wrestling excitement. The other half of the double main event is for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators champion. As your forever champion, Vinny the Fixer defends against the Guarantee, Mike Z. Mike Z is looking to end Vinny the Fixer's reign of terror. But will Vinny the Fixer knock out Mike Z or still retain that championship? You have to be in Millville on July 4th to find out. Another championship match that's going to happen is for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance Championship, as Big Billy Gold defends against the guy, the Henrik. The Henrik is on a tear right now and is looking to take his winning streak in both Mawa and Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators and get a shot and get that championship match. And he earned it against Big Billy Gold. Next thing you know, he has to pin Big Billy Gold to take the gold away from him. So we're going to see the Henrik versus Big Billy Gold for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance Championship. Also already announced, we actually talked about it last week before Dog even announced it, you're going to see the extremely young, powerful, the exciting rookie sensation, Ezra Coleman, take on one of the most talented wrestlers in Dog, the Focus, Nick Batti. This match is the future versus the now, Nick Batti versus Ezra Coleman, and you get to see it live July 4th at the Tim Shannon Sports Complex for America's 250th birthday being celebrated in Millville, New Jersey. Now, not announced, you get to see, this hasn't yet to be announced, so your guys are hearing it first. You can see the ultra popular, one of the most popular wrestlers in Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, Marvelous. Marvelous goes one-on-one with the vile and despised Connor Schaefer, the devil child himself. This match is either going to be Connor Schaefer I think he's there as a spoiler. I think he's right there to try to slow and stop the momentum of Marvelous. But Marvelous has been on a tear. He has not lost at all in a singles match in 2026, and he's on an extremely impressive winning streak since he had his Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators championship match against Vinny the Fixer. Will he continue against Connor Schaefer, or is Connor Schaefer going to be playing spoiler? You have to make sure you're there in person to see the result of that match. Also, not announced yet, but a match I look forward to. You got the president of pro wrestling, the man that is, a lot of people say he's not their president, he needs to be impeached. But President Hawkins will go against Dad Bod. That match is going to be a lot of fun. The president of pro wrestling, Edward Hawkins, and Dad Bod go one-on-one. Make sure you're there for that. It's going to be a fun match. Their fans are going to love it. And you're going to see it in person, free, on July 4th. Also announced, Dylan Mesh, the upstanding gentleman that he is, will be going one-on-one with Samuel Fozzy. That match is going to be really good. Samuel Fozzy had a shot at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship recently. I think Dylan Mesh is also there to play spoiler. So Samuel Fozzy versus Dylan Mesh. And that's going to be, again, a match you have to see in person. So make sure you're there to see it on July 4th at the Tim Shannon Sports Complex in Millville, New Jersey. And we're going to have our annual Battle Royal. We only have one a year. The Ultimate Stud Battle Royal is going to be going on at the event on July 4th. You get to see it. We only have one Battle Royal a year, and the fans get to see it for free this year at the Tim Shannon Sports Complex. A lot going on. They still haven't announced the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Tag Team Championship match, but there's a lot going on, and it's free for fans. Again, you just have to come in. There's going to be food trucks. There's going to be live music. There's going to be professional wrestling, and at the end, at 9 p.m., fireworks. So make sure you're there at Millville, New Jersey, Tim Shannon Sports Complex, starting at 6 p.m. for pro wrestling action and more. You don't have to buy a seat, so you don't have to worry about being on the edge.
Sorry, I didn't have the Battle Royal graphic either. That's on me. I'll have it for next week. But our friend Chris Shoemaker on TikTok said, this card read takes me back to my childhood. It just is missing that random cigarette drag. No smoking for Jaden.
No, there was no smoking, but dogs on fire. So make sure you're there in person to see it.
Everything's on fire. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week, guys. Again, if you didn't watch Power, it's still available on CommentTV.com. Check it out. We saw the Thrillbilly Silas Mason defend the 10 pounds of gold against El Dragon Nihan. We got to see, oh man, now I forgot what other matches happened. We saw the Junior Heavyweight Challenge, the Slade Submission Challenge. I don't even know what they call it, but Slade defended his title in what was basically a giveaway match. And Kerry Morton had a match that he won as well. So there you go. Watch the show. It's on Comment. You can check it out every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Get in where you fit. And apparently starting next Thursday, you'll be able to watch it on Tubi as well. So that's going to do it for this week. My name is Jay Cal. His name is Jaden. And the gentleman below is DK. And we are the Alliance guys. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Good night now.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.